A reading from the book of Exodus. Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. Leading the flock across the desert, he came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, an angel of the Lord appeared to Moses in fire, flaming out of a bush. As he looked on, he was just surprised to see that the bush, though on fire, was not consumed. So Moses decided, I must go over to look at this remarkable sight and see why the bush is not burned. When the Lord saw him coming over to look at it more closely, God called out to him from the bush, Moses, Moses. He answered, Here I am. God said, Come no nearer. Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. I am the God of your fathers, he continued, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. But the Lord said, I have witnessed the affliction of my people in Egypt, and have heard their cry of complaint against their slave drivers. So I know well what they are suffering. Therefore, I have come down to rescue them from the hands of the Egyptians and lead them out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Moses said to God, But when I go to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, if they ask me, What is his name? What am I to tell them? God replied, I am who am. Then he added, This is what you shall tell the Israelites. I am sent me to you. God spoke further to Moses. Thus shall you say to the Israelites, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever. Thus am I to be remembered through all generations. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. I do not want you to be unaware, brothers and sisters, that our ancestors were all under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and all of them were baptized into Moses in the cloud, in the sea. All ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from a spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. Yet God was not pleased with most of them, for they were struck down in the desert. These things happened as examples for us, so that we might not desire evil things as they did. Do not grumble as some of them did, and suffered death by the destroyer. These things happened to them as examples, and they have been written down as a warning to us, upon whom the end of the ages has come. Therefore, whoever thinks he is standing secure should take care not to follow. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Lord, be in my mind, on my lips, and in my heart. Some people told Jesus about the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mingled with the blood of their sacrifices. Jesus said to them in reply, do you think that because these Galileans suffered this way, they were greater sinners than all other Galileans? By no means. But I tell you, if you do not repent, you will all perish as they did. Or those 18 people who were killed when the Tower of Siloam fell on them. Do you think they were more guilty than everyone else who lives in Jerusalem? By no means. But I tell you, if you do not repent, you will all perish as they did. And he told them this parable. There once was a person who had a fig tree planted in his orchard. And when he came in search of fruit on it, but found none, he said to the gardener, for 3 years now I have come in search of fruit on this fig tree, but have found none. So cut it down. Why should it exhaust the soil? He said to him in reply, Sir, leave it for this year also, and I shall cultivate the ground around it and fertilize it. It may bear fruit in the future. If not, you can cut it down. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Good job. Okay, we worshipers, come on down. Today we're especially grateful to the African community who are our hosts for after Mass hospitality today. This week's readings invite us to remember that God is with us, Emmanuel, on this journey through life. Here's a story. A priest and a soap manufacturer were good friends. One day they were running through a park, and the soap manufacturer said to the priest, "You know, it must be very frustrating to preach the gospel you preach, because it doesn't seem to be doing any good at all. There's so much wickedness in the world and so many wicked people." The priest was shocked, couldn't think of what to say, so they both ran on with their own thoughts in silence. As they turned to go on the next path, lo and behold, there was a child jumping in a mud puddle, spreading and splashing mud all over himself and everything around him. And the priest said, "See that? It must be very frustrating to be in the soap business when so many people are still so dirty." The soap man immediately said back, "Yes, but for soap to work, you have to apply it." And the priest said, "Exactly. That's the way it is with the gospel as well. For it to work, you have to apply it." Our beliefs about what is important are powerful beliefs. We adjust our lives to what we believe is important. But consider this. When you think about the feeling we receive when someone affirms us, approves of us, admires us, when we're popular, it's a nice feeling that we have all enjoyed. But contrast that with the feeling we receive when we happen to be driving down the road at night and see a beautiful full moon rise above the trees ahead. Or when we're out at Cedar Key or down at Key West and we see a beautiful sunset. Or any of the other many beautiful things we see in nature. We also all have those feelings. Or contrast these. The feeling we get after an achievement, after we've gotten a good grade on a test, especially if we didn't deserve it. The good feeling we've gotten from winning an argument or a bet. And contrast that with doing a job we love, working with people we love or enjoy, with laughter and fun with our friends. Those are different feelings. The first are not natural. They are values that we have taken on from our culture. They are values that have been invented to keep our nose to the grindstone, keep us working hard, controlling us, and they lead nowhere. On the other hand, the other feelings are soul feelings. Those feelings last. The feelings, the worldly feelings, may be great for a short period of time, but they always lead towards emptiness, disappointment, dissatisfaction, anger, arguments, prejudice, all those low-level ways of living. Whereas the soul feelings lead us toward heaven. Remind us that God is with us. Remind us of the beautiful world we get to share. They remind us of who we truly are. That is who God created us to be. It reminds us that each and every one of us are good enough for God, who has redeemed us through Jesus Christ. And in a few moments we will receive his body and blood, and let them be a reminder to us of who is on board and where real joy actually comes from. Lasting happiness, lasting confidence, lasting satisfaction, lasting peace, lasting awareness that what is really important is us, God's beloved children, and the relationships we share. Jesus said, repent. It means change the way you think and feel. On these weeks of Lent, it's a great opportunity for us to reclaim and refresh our souls, to reclaim and refresh our own sense of how truly valuable we are, our own way of applying the gospel that is good news.